Okay.
All right, let's bake this sourdough white. Or at least let's check on our dough as we put it in the refrigerator yesterday. We let this thing proof only 3 hours yesterday, and we did a quick poke test, and there was a quick rapid spring back. When it's kind of like tight and bouncy and with a rapid spring back, you can tell that obviously it's not proof, it's not ready. If you do the poke test when we're poking our dough and we get a slower partial comeback on the dough, it's a little softer, that's about right what we're looking for. And obviously we said if we poke it and go all the way in and it's so soft that it just doesn't come back at all, then it's just a little bit overproof. Now, they said that this test is actually not as accurate when the dough is retarded when it's cold like this. But just out of curiosity, I mean, let's just get a feel for the dough here. I mean, if we were to give it a jab, look at that. To me, that looks like it's probably already like kind of proofed right there. So what we're going to do is, since they came back partially and not completely, and it's not as tight, let's just actually leave this dough in the refrigerator. And we're going to heat up our oven, and we'll just take this out and slash it while it's still cold. And we'll kind of put it like right in there. Or at least I'll take it out like a few moments before. And, well, we'll see what it does, you know? After like, what was it, 3 hours and 20 minutes proofing before? And we'll take this out and let it warm up maybe, I don't know, maybe another 15, 30 minutes before. So, time is it right now? 6:06. Let's turn on our ovens. We're gonna do the Dutch oven method. These are some oval roasters that are, looks a little from like oil and junk there. No big deal though. We're just using it for baking. It's the only thing I use it for. Put these oval roasters in our bottom rack on the oven. 475. We'll heat these up for probably at least a good hour. Probably I like to really get these up to temperature. It's going to take 20 to 30 minutes to get the oven up to temperature, 475, and then it takes like another 40-45 minutes for at least for this stuff to catch up. So a minimum of an hour from now. So we'll come back right after 7 and we'll put these both in, get this ready. Okay, we're back. It's about 7:15 almost. Oven's preheated with the cast iron 7-quart Dutch ovens. They're oval. Let's get this loaves of bread out here. It's cold. Let's see what this looks like. This all out of it. Right there. So, remember we talked about it yesterday, we had a little bit of extra flour in here. When you have extra flour like this, I like to just brush some of this off so we don't get excessive amount of flour on our doughs right here. I know this looks a little messy, but trust me, it's not a big deal. You don't want this getting caked up in the oven because we are going to have a little bit of steam working in there at the same time. And some of this is just more than the other one. Our oven is ready. We have a water bottle there that we are going to squirt these loaves to increase the amount of steam that we're going to use inside the Dutch oven. The Dutch oven itself is really good for holding in steam. It's very, very popular, very easy. So we're going to do a couple loaves with the steam in the Dutch oven, and we'll do them another way on the second batch. I really like what they call these UFO lanes. A lane is just something that holds a razor blade. Sometimes they're straight, sometimes they're curved. These kind of open up by turning them counterclockwise, and a little blade that's kind of held like in between here will just eventually at some point loosen up. Oh, there you go. And it will slide out there. Okay, and then you turn it the other way clockwise and it just locks it in place. Now at this point I'm going to take the Dutch ovens out, open them up, squirt them after I place this in there, I don't like to get my hands too close to those Dutch ovens. They're really hot, so I'm going to put it on a piece of parchment paper so I can drop it in safely. And this technique works really easy and good. See, this is not using the rice flour, but it's still got it out there. It's going to do the job. Not a big deal. Again, we're going to take our little brush. We're going to get rid of some of this excess flour that we just don't really need. Same thing with this one. This helps get those little bubbles that you'll see on the bread sometimes, like little blistering effect when the dough is not covered with all this flour. I think it makes that a little bit more pronounced there. Helps out in the trash can right here. Okay, let's get our lame out. Let's make a cut. Generally on a dough like this, I'm going to cut it at a 45-degree angle with the blade so that we want this to open up ideally up and out, and it allows the dough to expand when we're going to introduce the steam injection in there, which is going to not only brown the crust and make a little harder, crispier crust that people like, but it also allows the dough to actually expand there as well. So when the dough is cold, this is going to be really easy to just one simple cut. 45-degree angle. And that's generally it. Now, if you had to go back over it again, you could, like on the edges, but in general, that's going to do it. I'm going to take this over, put these ready. Go bring the other one. This way. Heat-resistant gloves. Drop our doughs inside. Give it some squirts, just to create a little bit of extra steam in here. It's not really necessary with an 80% hydration dough, but it's just something that I like to do just to give it a little bit more. First round, what we're going to do is at 475. Let me put this in here. It's going to go 25 minutes covered, and then after the first 25 minutes, we're going to just take the lid off, let it cook another 25 minutes. And we're going to take a look at this, what that looks like. Time 25, bang. Okay, and we'll be back.
All right.
Are we ready?
Yes, we're recording.
Come on over, Emma. Okay, now we're 25 minutes in. So we said at this point, we're going to lift the lids up and we're going to allow this bread now to brown. Let's take a look at the loaves and we can see we did get some nice open crumbs there. Well, you can't actually tell from this angle, but you can tell from the expansion that we got a nice here, and it looks like we got a nice little rise here to start. So now, I don't want to lose too much heat, but uncovered. Now it's going to allow for the browning and the setting of the crusts after we did the initial steam. And we'll be back.
We're live.
Okay, we're back. Let's take a look what this looks like. So 475, 25 minutes covered with the steam inside the Dutch oven, 25 minutes uncovered. We're going to take them out in a minute. We're going to let them cool, and we're going to cut them open tomorrow, and we're going to see what they look like. But we have a second baking session. We're going to do free-form artisan loaves right on the stone steam injection next, so hang in there. But let's take a look at these. These look nice. They could actually be a little bit darker, but you know what? I don't have a problem with that. I think these look nice. No issues with this. I'm going to take these out of the Dutch oven when this cools in a minute. I'm going to just put them on top of like some kind of a cooling rack here. And tomorrow morning, like I said, we're going to cut these open. We're going to take a look at them. Okay, these are what the loaves look like this morning. You can hear that little crusty loaf there. It sounds really nice. These have a wonderful smell. Looks like we're gonna take these over to a cutting board now, and let's go cut into one of these. Okay, let me put this camera down here, and I'll be right back.
All right, we're live.
Okay, we're back. Let's take a look at this. If you can hear, you can tell this is a crispy loaf. This is where we scored it at that 45-degree angle, and you can see how that we're creating the expansion in the places that we want, both up and outward. This is referred to as the ear, which is that raised area right there. And this is a nice crispy loaf. Now, there are some things that you can use to hold this bread in place to make slicing a little bit easier. Some of them are better than others. You kind of get what you pay for. I actually prefer to hold it from the side, but the slices don't actually always go like in a straight line. So just for the sake of argument today here, to make this look pretty, let's cut it right down the middle, just so that we can get like a little bit of what they call a crumb shot. The outside's the crust, the center is the crumb. Some people do this shot so that you can get like a nice view of it. That's not bad. I've had better expansion, but I mean, when you look at these holes, this is a sign of the fermentation and the gases there. They're not like too tight. This is a little tighter in the crumb area right here. Some of these have some holes. So this is not bad, but it could be better. Your results will vary. You know, like we said, we did a 3-hour and 20-minute proof. So, I mean, next time we could try 4 hours or 4.5. And sometimes I do get a little bit more of a rise out of it. That poke test is not always, like we said, accurate, especially when we're cold proofing the dough. And well, that's it for this one. And this is probably some of the most delicious bread that you're going to be able to make, as far as the texture with the crispy crust, the thicker crust right here from the Dutch ovens, from somebody who just has a regular home oven with not a lot of money invested in the oven, not a lot of tools, not a lot of fancy stones. I mean, this is really hard to beat. Now, we are going to do some other breads in the future. We are going to do them right on the baking stone. We are going to use some steam injection. We're going to show you how to do that with some lava rocks inside of like a little cast iron little pan at the bottom of the oven. But by far, this is probably my most requested bread from people. And what's nice about it is the shape. It's very easy to take the shape of your Dutch oven, whether you want oval or whether you want round. So it's easier to make pretty looking, loaves too, especially if you're going to do things like no knead doughs, which we're going to show you in the future too, with very little shaping. Anyway, so Giacomo Calabrese, sourdough baking. This is an 80% hydration Dutch oven loaf, one of my favorites, and we'll be back with more.